Well, for more, let's speak to Egemen Bagis. He's the former Turkish Minister of EU Affairs. Good to have you on the program. I want to ask you about Turkey's accession process. Essentially, it's gone cold for the last couple of years. The EU's enlargement commissioner has said he doesn't see Turkey becoming a member anytime soon. President Erdogan also at one point suggested holding a referendum on whether to continue pursuing EU membership. Are these new talks a sign of genuine appetite from both sides to revive Turkey's membership path?
Turkey's EU accession determination should be placed in the Guinness Book of Records. Since 1958, Turkey is trying to join the EU, despite all the pressure, both from within and from Europe, against this membership. But we see this process as a process of increasing the living standards of our people. Turkey's Europeanization means better roads, better democracy, better human rights, hygiene standards in the food that we consume, better baby toys, better living conditions for all citizens. That's why we're trying to adapt the EU acquis, the parts of it that are adaptable to the Turkish culture, of course. But the talks today are actually a good news, because after 16 months, it's going to be a first at that level, and that's going to be an important development. I'm sure Foreign Minister Çavuşoğlu will make his case very clearly. So will his deputy, Mr. Kaymakçı, who was our permanent rep to EU in Brussels for many years, and now he's our deputy foreign minister. And on the other side, we have the Commissioner for Enlargement and the Commissioner for Foreign Policy and Security. And when you look at the reality, the fact, it is obvious that Europe needs Turkey's cooperation at least as much as Turkey needs Europe's cooperation. Europe has an energy crisis where Turkey can be of great help. Europe has a migration crisis where Turkey has been a great help. Europe has an aging problem where Turkish workforce has been helping Europeans for many, many decades already. Turkey has more than 5 million citizens living in EU member countries by now. And that number is larger than many of the populations of EU countries. So we are already in EU with our people. Now we have to find ways. But the most important expectation of the Turkish public opinion today is visa liberalization. When citizens of UAE or Peru can travel to Schengen region without a visa, it is oxymoron that Turkish citizens have to wait on lines to get visas in order to go to neighboring countries like Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, or to Brussels and Germany and France.
Indeed, there seems to be high interest on both sides, though. Won't we continue to see certain areas, like, for instance, the EU's criticism over the jailing of hundreds of journalists after the failed coup in 2016, and Turkey's concerns about Western support for the YPG terror group in Syria, continue to stand in their way realistically?
Well, realistically, the EU has failed a test of solidarity after the July 16 coup attempt. When there was an attack to a cartoon magazine in Paris, everyone, including Turkey's prime minister of then, went to Paris to walk in hand against terrorism. But when our own warplane attacked our own parliament 11 times, when we sacrificed more than 250 lives overnight to defend democracy, to defend all the values that Europe stands for, unfortunately, Europe was quite silent. And it was only 3 weeks after that we had a European minister and an EU commissioner visiting Turkey. And that kind of broke many hearts in our country. Now, they are criticizing us without going into the details of why those so-called journalists are detained or imprisoned. They're not there because of journalistic views or articles that they have issued. They have other ties to terrorist organizations. And there's another dilemma. Europe has declared PKK as a terrorist organization, but until now, European Union member countries have not even returned, extradited one PKK member to Turkish authorities, despite our numerous attempts and demands. So there's a serious sincerity issue, and European Union has to be more transparent. Are they with us or are they with terrorist organizations? I think today, Mr. Çavuşoğlu's, Foreign Minister Çavuşoğlu's main task is going to push them to make that decision. They have to remember that Turkey is a NATO ally since 1950, and we have fought together in every international conflict, in Korea, in Kosovo, in Bosnia, in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Today we're playing a very vital role regarding the crisis in Syria. We're hosting more than 3.5 million Syrians as we speak, and they all hope to travel to Europe, and Turkey has been providing a safe haven in many different areas of Turkey to those people, so they don't feel the pressure to go to Europe. And Europe has to understand that it's a huge burden. Turkey has spent almost $35 billion so far, and we cannot carry on this weight on our own shoulders alone. We need to cooperate. We need to work together. And I think European commissioners that are visiting Turkey today realize that every candidate country until now has become a full member except for Turkey. And Turkey is determined. And they have no role of criticizing Turkey's democracy because we showed on the coup attempt that we were ready to sacrifice our lives for freedom of speech, for democracy, and for our stability and unity. So I think they owe us an apology, but we have to look forward and we have to find means. The issues that they criticize Turkey have to be dealt within the chapters 23 and 24, which have not been open to negotiations, for which we don't even know what the opening benchmarks are, because a small island in the Mediterranean has been blocking Turkey's membership and those specific chapters. So Europe has to come forward and say, these are the opening benchmarks on justice, on freedom, on democracy, on human rights. And if Turkey doesn't deliver the necessary legislative changes, then they might have a right to criticize. But right now, they don't really have that.
Well, lots of stepping stones, it seems, in this long and record-breaking, as you described, accession process. Thank you so much again, Egemen Bagis, for speaking to us.
Thank you.